Hello, and welcome to another 15 Minutes of Fame. I am Ralph Ann Forrest, aka the Confidence Coach. For 30 years, I've helped women show up looking and feeling their absolute best. And today I'm so excited because I found a new friend, y'all. Capi Fullerton. She is actually the reigning Mrs. California Petite 2022. She'll be competing in nationals next month. Yes, August next month. And also, she is the founder of Peacemakers United. It's a podcast, and I just really fell in love with her concept about, creating peace within families and in our community, and how, even if we don't share the same views, that we can still, find a way to keep the peace. All right. So, yeah. So, cancel culture, look out. You have no place here. So, anyway, I just want to bring Cappy on. I'm so excited. I'll let her tell you more about Peacemakers United and all the amazing things that she's doing. All right. Hello, Cappy.
Hi, Ralph Ann. How are you doing?
How are you? So excited to have you. I did touch on, a little bit of your title and Peacemakers United. And I know a little bit of your story because I started your podcast I'm not really sure if it's an OCD thing or what it is, but when I start a podcast, I have to start at the very beginning when it started. I just like to know the history and the story. And I know that one episode kind of, really kind of supports the next. But anyway, I like to jump ahead. So tell us a little bit. First, you got some exciting news coming up. You are Mrs. California Petite, and you're competing in nationals next month. So tell us a little bit more about that first.
Okay, so I'm very, very excited for nationals next month. I've actually never competed in a national competition before, so this will be my first, but
Awesome.
I'm very, very excited to do so. And I've already been able to meet quite a few petite USA queens throughout kind of like my region of the United States. And every single one that I've met has just been so incredibly kind and caring, considerate, and very, very driven. And so I've just been able to bond with these ladies all this year so far. And are definitely looking forward to continuing growing those relationships when we see each other again at nationals.
Awesome. Yeah, I've actually come across a few petite state queens myself on Facebook. And I remember sharing with you, like when I competed in pageants the last time, we didn't even have social media. So the fact that these like different people are like popping up, you may know this, you may know that. I'm like, wow, this is so amazing. So your first national competition. Tell me a little bit about what was different about this? Did you prepare any differently regarding I mean, you're already like super cute and then like just so little and fit, but I know you have two small kids. So mentally or physically, how did any different preparations you did this time going around?
Absolutely. I decided to go just completely all in on this pageant for quite a few reasons. I knew that this was going to be a really big undertaking. We do have to travel. It's going to be in Milwaukee. So from California to Wisconsin, it's going to be a big trip in itself. So I was going to be putting in a lot of effort for this. And so I knew I needed to train differently. Otherwise, I would just keep getting the same results over and over and over again. So I had to try something new. And so this time I decided to jump in with a very special coach. She actually judged me in my previous competition, in my very first Mrs. competition. And so I knew that she knew what was going on. And she also knew what my weaknesses and strengths were in the competition realm already. And all of the comments that she gave me at the end were very constructive and supportive. She gave me very real scores, I will say it in that way, but I deserve them, no doubt. But she was just so encouraging and kind and honest that I couldn't help but pick her to be my coach. So that was probably going to be the biggest difference between then and now, is that I have been coaching with her for 4 months now, and it has been so much more than just pageantry. She really helps you win at life, and that is what it's all about here. So that's been the
Right.
biggest shift for me, and I'm so thankful that I ended up just going all in on that one as well.
So amazing. I'm glad that you brought that up because, like we were saying before, pageants have just had such, a negative connotation over the years by so many people not understanding, that it's so much more than, a beauty pageant, and that
Yeah.
for me, like I said, to come out of retirement after 24 years, because as a coach, I'm trying to get on more stages and do more speaking engagements. And just the fact that, it gives you a voice, whereas, normally, you may or may not have one in such a very noisy, noisy world. And I just think it's so amazing, like the accomplishments you made, and like how can you say, and I know this isn't your first pageant, first national, but not first pageant, because I heard that on your podcast. But how do you think like it has helped you like evolve and like really shape and become more empowered, as a young woman in America?
So pageantry, I feel like the biggest thing that anybody can take away out of it, whether they win, lose, learn, or anything, is actually it's a big confidence builder. And I think this is why you are exactly in the right place with your confidence coaching. The very first pageant that I did, I was, a teenager. I felt like I had like decent confidence. I wasn't like too over the top, but I wasn't like super incredibly shy. I may not have spoken a lot, but when I did speak, I was fairly confident in what I had to say. But being able to do pageants and really putting myself out there at a fairly young age, it really helped me kind of grow more as a person. It helped me understand that I do need to speak more. I have
Mhm.
something to say, just like you were saying. Everybody has something to say, and I think it has given me a way to do it that is a little unexpected,
Mhm.
because people do kind of think that we're just, this is what they see and that they think that that's all we are. And like the crown, the earrings, the bling, how pretty we may look, like that draws a lot of attention to us. But what we can bring attention to instead can speak
Mhm.
volumes. And so I think that's why we are all here, is so that we can get that kind of positive attention so that we can kind of harness it and bring it to something else that's more important to us.
Wow. Yep. I love that. It's so much more,
Yes.
and I came from, coaching in the Miss America organization, and I was a coach and a consultant there. So for me, and that wasn't the beginning. I had some teen pageants too when I was young, and it was just kind of like, oh, there's such a thing. This is so cool. I want to do all the things when I was a teenager, but then, becoming a part of the Miss America organization for nearly 14 years, just knowing that substance of academics and
Right.
platform and community and talent, was such a big part of that too. I think that really just kind of gave me definitely the perspective, like, well, pageants is definitely not just a beauty thing. Now it's fun, don't get me wrong, because I love my
Right.
lip, I love my bling, and
It's
it's
only the cherry on top. There's so much more going on
so much
underneath.
more.
Yes.
Yes, so much more. And I feel like when you do have something to say, like
Mhm.
many of us have something to say, we have a story, we have, you know, um, our part of what we want to do, the thing that we want to communicate to the community and to the world. This is just such a great opportunity to do that. So
Right.
much so tell me a little bit and tell everybody else, because like I said, I've done my homework and I'm a fan. I'm subscribed to your podcast. I feel like I was like, oh, I'm kind of like one of the founding members, I feel like.
Yes, you absolutely are. You absolutely are.
So tell us more about Peacemakers United. I mean, like I said, it's to me, it's amazing because we're living in a world right now, where there is so much cancel culture. And it's
Yes.
not just within the community, like you said, sometimes it's just within your own family that
Right.
people have stopped hanging out or being, you don't feel like you can have a conversation anymore if you don't share the same views. And I'm
Right.
not a political person by any means. I am a
Yeah.
women's empowerment advocate, tried and true. And I just believe in movements. will
Yes.
move the world. But for those that, do have political standpoints, and, this past couple elections have been so rigid and serious that causes division. So
Right.
tell us more, about Peacemakers United and, all the wonderful things that you're doing.
Right. So, our goal here at Peacemakers United is to be able to preserve the essential relationships that are in your life and keep your support system intact. For most of us, that does look like our family members or very close friendships. And to be able to do it in a way that it's so strong that when there are those conversations of opposing views, that you're able to navigate them in a way that is just full of peace, love, and acceptance, and that kind of aggressiveness doesn't have to come out, because that's where the division happens. Like, you can have a real conversation just between two friends or family members that have two different viewpoints, but only if both of them are in a fairly peaceful place and are actually listening to one another and really just respecting the other person. And that's when we are able to learn and grow the most is when we listen to somebody that has a different viewpoint than we do. It doesn't mean we have to agree with them, but it helps you grow. And this whole concept kind of stemmed from my childhood growing up. And I didn't realize it at the time until I had to really dig deep. But growing up, I was raised in the Mormon culture, the LDS culture. And it really was a shock to everybody when my parents announced that they were getting a divorce, and especially that my mom came out as a lesbian. That's very uncommon, if you didn't know. And this was back in 2008 here in California. And 2008 was a very big election year again, and they were trying to pass Proposition 8, which would ban same-sex marriage. And so there was just a lot of different views swirling around everybody in not necessarily our house, because I was only the second child of 4 kids and I was 11 at the time. So, I didn't really have an opinion on that topic at the time. I feel like at that point in time, I didn't really understand, different sexual preferences or orientations or anything like that. I wasn't even interested in anybody like that. Yeah, I was so young.
Right.
But it was just, there was a lot of different opinions that were being thrown at us. Even as children, we had some very forward people come up to us, and not just at church, but also just in the community in general. And they just let us know whether it was good information or bad information, what they thought about our situation. And so there was just a lot of contention that was happening. And fast forward to today, I am still a devout member of the Mormon Church. I am an LDS member. And to be able to really walk that path was difficult. There were so many people that, may not have agreed with the things that I believed were good for me and my family. But I still believe that I am a core, to my core, I am still LDS. And some people don't agree with that. Right. And that's okay. That's their own understanding of it all. But I know that I have a strong relationship with my Heavenly Father, and that's all that matters to me. Right. There are boundaries that you have to set in order to be able to feel that kind of confidence. And that actually is exactly one of my ABCs of peacemaking, which we kind of coined to go along with Peacemakers United as a way for people to kind of build up these 3 pillars within themselves so that they can be a peacemaker. And our A is acceptance. And there are so many different things that you need to be able to accept. And not just accept different viewpoints, but we need to accept other human beings all in general. That's where a lot of peace is going to come from.
Right.
My sister and I, we had pretty much the exact same upbringing. So a lot of our opinions are going to be the same. But my 2 younger brothers, even though we were kind of in the same situation, they handled it a little bit differently than we did. And they have a very different understanding of how it happened as well. So you have to understand and accept the fact that people are going to internalize even the same situations differently. And you need to respect them for their opinions on how things happened, and only God knows the truth. And so we really just need to kind of just, I know it sounds a little hippie-ish, but we really do need to just love and appreciate and respect pretty much everybody. And then our B and Peace and ABCs is building bonds. Like I said in the beginning, the whole goal with Peacemakers United is to preserve the essential relationships that are already in your life. So you already have this bond with somebody that you're having some sort of disagreement with. And I want you to be able to continue to build on that bond. That's where it's going to be the most important. Because if we had, let's say, Ralph and you and I had like a weird conversation and it kind of left us like, ooh, that was a little strange, I think it's important for us to establish, let's talk about the next time that you and I are going to have a positive interaction. Right. Just because I want to keep building that bond with you. And if we don't lay that groundwork now, in 3 weeks' time, we're going to be like, oh, I really wish I could reach out to Ralph Ann, but the last time we talked, it was kind of strange, and I don't know if we're still friends, like it happens to everybody. So being able to kind of establish right away, like I still want to build this bond with you and have a positive experience with you in the very near future, that really opens the door for people to feel that you accept them, even if it's at a small extent. And that, I think, is what everybody needs when they're in a relationship. Whether it's a friendship or just a family membership, any ship. And then, of course, our C is cultivating confidence. And that is one of the most difficult and time-consuming ones that you're going to be able to work on. It's not going to happen overnight, but if you are confident in your own opinions and you know that it is the best thing for you and your family and your future, like I said before, it doesn't really matter what other people say to you. If they come off as a little aggressive or a little bit too inappropriate in the terms of their tone or something like that, or you just simply don't appreciate it, then it won't affect you so personally anymore. You'll just be like, you know what, that's okay. That's their views, that's their opinions, and they're definitely able to have those, but I just know it's not for me. And you can wash your hands and take the high road and you're good.
I love that. And it, like I said, in a world where, there's so many, and I know people have always been opinionated, but for some reason, it just seems like it has taken on a totally new identity lately. Like, it is so extreme, and everybody feels that and I do feel like everybody's opinion matters. Absolutely. But like you said, I really do feel very strongly, though, that I'm going to love and support regardless. Exactly. There's a very good chance that I don't agree with half the things that people say and do. Right. To the point of where it's just not something that I would it doesn't really line up with my life and my values necessarily, or even my goals or purpose. But I don't love them any less. I'm never going to love them any less. It's just an opinion. It really is just a different opinion or a perspective. And so I just think the fact that you're even able to, be transparent enough to start that dialogue for, because a lot of people are even afraid to have that conversation. They would rather just almost ignore the person, or like you said, God forbid, like, just shut down and end the relationship because it's awkward.
Yes. And some people do. I know that I was at that point in my life too. At some point, there are times, where you don't feel so comfortable talking with somebody who does have a different viewpoint. There are people, that are very strongly opinionated and have absolutely no problem letting you know what they think, which I think those people are fabulous. Right. But I do wish that they are aware of how they're making people feel around them. Because some people that are like me, a little bit more on the quieter side, in the beginning, it can feel like you're being a little bit attacked, even when you're not at all. And in the podcast, I go through a couple episodes on how you can actually like talking points on how to actually have that kind of conversation. And there are some very, very easy methods on how you can kind of shut down a conversation if you're not feeling comfortable in it for whatever reason. And they're just as simple as we said it here, like, oh, I understand that's your opinion. It's not something that I agree with. Like, I'm not comfortable with this topic. I would appreciate it if we moved to a lighter topic, if you don't mind. You know, like very tiny inserts that you can put in here and there. And you don't even have to share your own views at that point if you're not comfortable. Like, these are just baby steps that I want people to have the tools to be able to use in those social settings so that they can still feel comfortable and be able to continue to grow the relationships around them, because we didn't get that for, you know, a whole year and a half or whatever when we were all stuck in our houses. And I think that's a big reason why a lot of people are so opinionated and forward at the moment. They did a study at MIT in 1996 on echo rooms or echo chambers. And that is where you are listening to the exact same opinion over and over and over again. And typically it's the one that you have, the opinion that you have. And the more you hear your own opinion being validated, you get so much, you know, more confident in it, so much stronger in it, which sounds great. But when it went to the extreme, like we did, you know, during COVID times, and the only people that like we followed on Facebook that weren't friends and family were people that we agreed with their opinions. So we only heard those same cycles churning and churning and churning in our heads for almost a year and a half. It really built up us all up a little bit to the place where we're like, you know, our opinion is pretty much fact, you know, like I've heard it so much. I've seen it validated here and there multiple times a day, that people just think that their opinion is the only opinion and it's correct. And it's actually detrimental to society for people to be so confident in opinion being a fact. We need to remember that opinions are opinions, and they are very important and they are earned, but they are not fact. So
I love it. Yes, the old saying, opinions are a dime a dozen.
Yes. And we need dimes, but they're not all quarters.
I mean, and literally everybody has one, you know, and I do feel like if you put 100 people in a room and ask a question, you're going to probably get 100 different opinions. I've always felt that way. It just is what it is. So, I mean, I love that. I mean, I just think that you are, you know, just the greatest thing ever. It's so funny. I was just like, who is this lady that is like in my newsfeed? Like literally, like once we became friends on Facebook, it was like, Capi's going to be there. Capi's going to be there. I'm like, wait. And I was like, squirrel, because
I'm
like,
all over the place.
I'm like, she's all over the place. And then it looked like we were starting to like be in like a lot of the same places. I was like, oh, that's so cool. Capi's going to be on the training. I'm like, I was going to be on that training. And then like for the, you know, Talk Pageants party in December. And I was like, I'm going to be at the Talk Pageants party in December. So we'll get to see each other in person. Finally. I'm so excited.
So excited.
It'll be after both of our pageants will be done. Like you have nationals in August. I have state in October. When we go in December, I don't know about you, but I love the holidays. So I feel like we'll be like post pageant, and it'll be near the holidays, and I feel like it'll be like this big celebration, and I'm just super excited. So I am thrilled to know you, and I'm going to have all the information of how people can learn more about you and Peacemakers United here in the show notes. But if you would just tell everybody, you know, like how to find you on social media and, you know, about your podcasts, and well, we know how to find a podcast, but remind some people, because some of us, you know, are a little bit older and may not know all the things. So
no, absolutely no worries. So on Facebook, I am Capi Fullerton. That is my name on there. And then I also have a Peacemakers United Facebook group. And I think I'm actually going to start a Peacemakers United. I'm sorry. I have a Peacemakers United page currently, but I'm thinking about creating a group, a closed group, so that it is a much more safer place for people, you know, if they ever had a situation occur and they would like, you know, some opinions on how to proceed with that situation, and they can kind of maybe anonymously or not anonymously pop it in there and ask, you know, the group some supportive questions and answers and ways on how to manage that situation. So that's in the works. And then on Instagram, my handle, my personal handle is Happy Capi, HAPI CAPI. And then I do have a Peacemakers United Instagram as well. And then, yes, the podcast, big shock, it's called Peacemakers United, and you can find it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify at the moment. So 2 places.
Love it. Yes, I love it. I love all the things. And yes, you just have become so quickly like one of my favorite people. And literally, like I said, when I do your posts and people see that you're in it and I tag you and they're like, yay, Capi, yay, Capi. And I do find that it is just this really cool, I don't know, it's become like this really cool vibe and energy. And I think it's wonderful. I am a hippie at heart. I used to always say if hippies wore nail polish and Chanel fragrance, I would be a hippie. But I ain't giving up my Chanel fragrance or my nail polish. So
we can be our own kind of hippie. We can start like a whole new age of hippie.
I love it. Yes, I'm a hippie at heart, but definitely not, all the things. But
although I do love a good pair of bell bottoms.
Yes, same. I love the bell bottoms. I'm not a pothead. I do love some wine. I love the wine. That's about as earth as I can get. And sage. I do burn some sage, but that's that's it. But thank you again so much, Capi. I'm excited. I'll definitely be keeping everybody updated on how everything's going. And of course, hello Nationals, sending good vibes your way. I think it's going to be wonderful.
I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Ralph Ann. I have been looking forward to this for quite a while now, ever since the first time we even chatted about this ever coming out. And it's just been such an honor to be able to get to know you a little bit more and work with you. And huge shout out to your 15 Minutes of Fame, because this is such a great place for queens to be able to have just another outlet to talk about what's really important to them. And that's, like we said, that's what it's all about. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much. And I appreciate the shout out. All right. So thank you very much. And everybody, thank you for tuning in. And as usual, here's to you becoming the best version of you.